This is it. When one hears the word legacy, one speaks of a person who has created an indelible impact on society. And throughout modern history, especially lately, women have been making significant contributions that cement their legacy. So from scientists discovering cures for diseases, to female authors writing stories that win people, to those who lead regions, katulad na ng mga kasama natin kanina,
Yes.
and lead countries even. It is clear that women are capable of achievements that are changing the world.
However, a legacy is not limited to women with grand, highly publicized achievements. They're also about those who change things, one life at a time, Chal. It is as much about unsung heroes as it is about icons, those whose hearts and brains inspire others to be at their best, those who share hope and empowerment through the work that they do, the ideas they share, and the values they promote. Now let us explore how every woman can tell her story and thus share that hope and empowerment in a way that will stand out. How can a woman, by her ideas and actions, create that indelible impact on people's lives, leaving a legacy? Dito muna kami, di ba?
Ladies and gentlemen, and of course, more to the ladies who are here to warm up the afternoon with a fireside chat on women of legacy. Please welcome our distinguished guests, the executive consultant of ABS-CBN, no other than Ms. Charo Santos-Concio.
Next is an HIV advocate, National Commission for Culture and the Arts Ambassador for 2020, Smile Train Global Ambassador, and an international beauty queen. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Universe 2018, Catriona Gray.
And joining them, of course, you know him, celebrity host, endorser, and founder of Make Your Nanay Proud Foundation, no other than Dr. Boy Abunda.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this very special session. Charo, good morning.
Good morning, boy.
Catriona.
Good morning to everyone.
Morning, everyone.
Wow.
Boy.
Okay. This is a very special session, and we're going to talk about legacy. But I'm truly honored to be in the company of two of the most beautiful women in the country, two of the most respected and two of the most brilliant women in the country. Let me move forward. But I want to let you into a secret, because I was told backstage by the organizers that when they were trying to choose a moderator for this particular segment, there were a few considerations. Some were negotiable, others were not. The only non-negotiable was that the moderator should be beautiful. So thank you, Mr. Joey Concepcion, for this wonderful moment. So we're going to talk about legacy. You girls ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about legacy. Charo, to your mind, what is legacy?
Legacy is leaving something of meaning, of significance. Legacy is empowering and inspiring people to go the extra mile for a shared vision. That, to me, is legacy.
Well, to you, Catriona?
Legacy for me is an impact it's a small impact or a big one that we leave to other people. Because each of us are a collection of human experiences left by another human being. And for me, a legacy is being a positive or building experience to someone else. And a legacy to me is about giving a contribution, not a recognition.
Okay, everything is right. It is a footprint. It's a gift. It's something that you inherit. This is really funny because, ladies and gentlemen, I was eavesdropping in a conversation between, many, many years ago, Charo and Kat, of the great Aling Opera and Maya Angelou, and they started to talk about legacy. And that was a time in opera was building a school, a leadership school in South Africa with the great Nelson Mandela. And they were talking about legacy, and the opera was saying, finally, I will have my legacy. And then the great Maya Angelou just told her, girl, your legacy is every life that you touch. And you do that every day. So every day you create your legacy. That's basically what we're trying to say here. In your journey, Charo, to the presidency of ABS-CBN, and up to this point, and Kat, in your journey to the crown, to the Miss Universe crown, did you actually think about legacy? Were there points in your lives when you would stop for a moment and say, this is for my legacy? Catriona.
I never thought about with the term legacy, because to many of us, including myself, legacy feels like a thing that someone so young doesn't really have a part in creating yet. And when I competed, I was 24, and I felt too young to think of an aspect like legacy, but I did approach representing something and leaving a contribution behind. Because if I were to go up on that Miss Universe stage and just represent myself, it would have been not with as many layers as I added to it, but I wanted to add the layer of the identity of the country I was representing, the layer of the advocacies for the Filipino people that I wanted to help, the advocacies of the people worldwide that I wanted to help. I wanted to add all these layers, and that for me does play in part to a legacy, because I made it more than just about myself, and that's exactly what legacy is.
Yeah, probably legacy is a bit too serious a word to be used by, but it shouldn't be, by a 24, 23-year-old queen. But were you conscious that there were certain things that you were doing and you wanted people to remember you, that I am this kind of a queen?
Yes, I actually feel it wasn't even a proactive thought on my part, but rather the surprise at that people were impacted in such a way by what I did. I could never fathom the way that other people would have the impression or be impacted by me raising our flag on the Miss Universe stage, the way that they too had messages of inspiration or saying, Kat, you made me feel brave, or I felt like I could go after a dream because you did after failing. So it kind of arrived in that sort of form.
All right. Charo.
Boy, why do I feel like I am in a beauty pageant?
In a Q&A portion, Charo.
Seriously. No.
Charo, I'm sorry. Can I just say this to the audience?
Yes.
Backstage, I was talking to Charo and Catriona, and I said, Kat, do you know that Charo was Miss Baron Travel Girl during her time? And Baron Travel Girl, thank you for the applause, was one of the most coveted titles during that time. So, this
Thank
is really
you,
a
boy.
conversation with two queens.
Parang nare-relieve yung kabataan ko.
Okay.
Anyway, in my journey towards leadership, I was never conscious about leaving a legacy. I really just worked hard, worked very, very hard, ladies and gentlemen, and followed my passion. I really just followed my passion, and I gave it my all. I gave it my full commitment, my dedication, and my hard work. You can never replace the value of hard work in achieving your dreams. But I was never conscious about, one day, this is the thing that I want to live. To leave my colleagues or my audience, I guess I have this passion for storytelling ever since I can remember when I was a young girl. I was already listening to the radio dramas when we had our first black and white television. I would watch all the ABS-CBN programs. On weekends, I would watch the double features in our, hometown theater. And when I joined the world of show business, it was about sharing good stories to my audience. So, and up to now, it's very much alive in my heart. And this is me.
Okay, I would just like both of you to comment because I don't know if this is a study, ito isang pag-aaral, but it says that women, some women are not conscious about legacy. I mean, a lot of women do not think about legacy as they journey towards whatever that is. I mean, the crown, the presidency of ABS-CBN. But there is a study that says that women become more productive, become more energized when the mindset is that I am creating a legacy. I mean, if you think about it now, if you were thinking about your legacy as you were journeying towards wherever you are today, could it have made a difference?
I feel like yes, but also I feel like in a way I kind of ended up on that path anyway.
Okay.
Because in my mind, legacy has the image of passing on, no? Like passing on something that you've created, that you have, to someone else. And I feel like that's in contributing, and that's in the act of serving. And that's what I really felt that I did through my advocacy work. So in a way, I'm not thinking about it of legacy, but if I were to say I'm going to leave a legacy, I would continue doing that same type of work because that's what it embodies for
Get
me.
it. Charo.
When I was young, I was never conscious about it, boy. But when I got into a role of leadership, the mentor in me came out. I wanted to transfer the skills that I learned about good storytelling to a lot of the young men and women who joined the ABS-CBN production and creative force. And I actually became quite a tough mentor. And if you can call that being part
Very tough, Charo. A tough mentor.
quite exacting. I had my standards of excellence that I wanted the people to live up to. And that motivation came from my desire to be able to inspire my audience, to be able to touch the lives of my audience, to be able to bring hope and aspirations to my audience, to bring relief to my audience. There's a real emotional engagement that I kept alive with my audience, and if you can call that part of my legacy, then it is.
Okay, we've been talking about legacy as something that's inherited. Something that's, you're talking about transference of, let's say, expertise. Pero sa inyong buhay, in your lives, is there a woman of legacy who inspired or who still inspires you to move forward towards whatever you want to achieve more?
For me, I have had the pleasure of knowing several women, and actually they're the heads of the NGOs that I've come to work very closely with. The first being Young Focus was started by a missionary couple. The woman, her name is Anne, just had such a heart for these kids. And that for me is one of the true embodiments of legacy because they are in constant service. Just as Ma'am Charo was saying, is constant service is the act of mentoring, it is the act of giving, it is the act of contributing to a community. And that's what lasts, that's what's carried on, that's how people are remembered. And so those are the type of women figures that I really, really look up to.
Charo?
I admire so many women, boy. I'm a fan at heart. I love Oprah, Jackie O, Barbara Streisand, Meryl Streep, and the women leaders here. I read about them, and they continue to inspire me. These are stories of courage, I mean, the stories of these women are stories of courage and perseverance, stories of single-mindedness to achieve a shared vision with their employees and with their colleagues. Stories of wanting to improve the lives of people, and making a great contribution to society. These stories are very inspiring. And
I love
yeah.
your story with your mother.
My mother is, of course, the
Diba?
the ultimate one who inspired me.
She was, when I was reading your book, to this very moment as we talk, I remember the kind of influence. Very quiet, very maayos, very, I don't know if I remember correctly, you described her, she was a singer.
Yes.
She was.
She wanted to be in the world of entertainment, but my father, who was a very conservative man, prevailed upon her to be a wife and a mother to 6 children. And so I think she projected her dreams
Yes.
on her daughter.
No, and she
Yeah.
doted on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there were women who moved you and inspired you to move towards your dreams, if I were to ask you now as to what legacy would you want to leave behind to other women, what would that be, Charo?
Boy, simple lang ako. To be a good person. And to be your authentic self. Listen to your heart. Just listen to your heart. Don't be someone you are not. Follow your passion and have that sense of purpose and sense of commitment to follow your dreams. And it can only come with hard work. It can only come with hard work and patience and perseverance and complete dedication. Do not be discouraged by failures. Failure will teach you. It is the best teacher you can ever get. But keep getting up and just walk on. Walk on. Face your fears. Just face your fears. That's the most liberating moment one can ever go through in life, when you face your fears.
Okay, I heard 3 things. Truth. Stay true to your truth because you'll survive anything. Failures. Charo, if I were to ask you, what was your biggest failure? And how did you move beyond it?
That was when Channel 2 was the leading network for 17 years. And then one day, we lost the leadership status. That was in 2004. And when you're a creative person, you are an extension of what you create. And the rejection becomes very, very, very personal. It's like, nawala yung pagkatao mo. Diba? It's a rejection of your person. The rejection of your work is a rejection of your person. And I really just lost it. I broke down. I didn't want to go to work anymore. I went through a period of introspection. I was asking myself whether kaya ko pa ba ito o hindi. But then, with my family, who was around me, was very, very supportive of me, I got up again and I told myself, this is where I find my happiness. This is where I am my authentic self. And I cannot imagine myself in any other profession and in any other industry but this industry. And so I got up and I faced my fears and I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get up from where I failed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're back. Kat, Charo talked about truth, about failures, about fears. Your take.
And I very much mirror those values too. I really honestly believe each and every one of us has a dream or a passion for a reason. Because if you ask yourself, why do you have that specific interest? Why are you drawn to that specific field? I feel like it's not by chance, because how could it? Out of all of the infinite choices and fields and professions there are out there, why this one? And I really truly believe that's placed in our hearts for a reason. So you need to have faith that that's there's a plan for you, but that path leading to where you're meant to go sometimes doesn't look how you think it looks. Because of course we have our own perceptions that, yes, it's gonna work out this way. This is how I'm meant to go. I'm meant to take it this way. And sometimes we're redirected, maybe in terms of a failure or a challenge that seems too hard to overcome, or something doesn't work out, something's pulled out from under you, and you're left thinking, but wait, isn't this what I'm meant to do? This is my passion. Why didn't it work out this way? But I've honestly come to believe, and I really do believe this, that you are never denied, but only redirected to the path you're meant to go. And honestly, and I speak from the 26 years of my life, but I really ring true to that sentiment. And as Charo said, staying true to yourself and your authenticity, because as everyone says, everyone is everyone else, there's only one you, and you have those unique capabilities, those unique attributes because of your unique purpose. And sometimes purpose takes a while to figure out what it truly is. But once you discover it, you will know what it is, because it'll grip your heart in such a way that you won't be able to let it go. And when you do find your purpose, I hope that you will forge towards it with all your might and all your heart, no matter the setbacks, no matter the drawbacks, no matter the failures. That purpose is worth going for. Even if you fail 100 times, the purpose will always be worth it.
As a woman, and we're talking to many women today, Kat, what do you think is the biggest challenge that women face today?
I feel like so many other people, other forces are always defining what success should look like for us.
Somebody else tells you
Yes,
that this is the way to
society
be
tells
successful.
us it's either in the way of how we should look, how we should study, what we should define success in career, in personal life, how we're supposed to look like we're balancing everything. I feel like we become truly empowered and women step into their power when they define for themselves what success is.
Okay, Charo, what do you think is the biggest challenge that women face today?
Not believing in oneself.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm the daughter of my father, and early on, because we're 6 siblings, 5 girls and 1 boy, and early on, my father told us, your Prince Charming, he was our Prince Charming, will not be beside you for your whole life. And therefore, you have to learn to fend for yourself. And learning to fend for yourself is believing in oneself.
I remember the story in the pier.
Yeah.
I know your book from beginning to end, but that's really an inspiring story. Iniwanan kayo ng tatay mo, and what happened was...
Iniwanan kami ng tatay ko kasi kukunin pa niya yung mga gamit namin dun sa baggage compartment. Tapos, nung araw kasi naglulundagan yung mga kargador, di ba? Yung maleta, yung mga gamit nyo, kaming kukuha. So, ang daming mga barako, di ba? Ganon. So, yung mga, sumigaw kami, Daddy, sinisiksik kami dito. Yung tatay ko nasa may baggage compartment area na, sabi niya, suntukin nyo! Ayan. So, those words I remembered, In other words, it was what he meant when he told us, you have to learn to fend for yourself. Anong babae? Hindi, di ba? You have to learn to fend for yourself. Kung nasa tama ka, sabihin mo. Kung ang opinion mo, palagay mo, nasa tama ka, kahit na sinong kaharap mo, basta marespeto ang pagsabi mo, sabihin ninyo. Di ba?
Yeah.
There should be no hindrances. We create our own walls.
Right. I've been talking to a lot of women, I've been reading a lot of books, and people would say, the biggest challenges of the world today for women are words like equality. Oprah says the disease to please. Yeah, that's what she calls it. And then some people would say, what syndrome is that? When you believe, when it's inculcated upon you, the imposter syndrome, that you cannot achieve anything. And it's inculcated, it's deeply embedded in your mind. So there are a lot of challenges, but yes, Charo.
If I may also share that I am quite fortunate because I married somebody who respected my
Yes.
person. Yung idea ko ng pagiging may bahay, gigising sa umaga, magtitimpla ng kape sa asawa, at maghahain ng almusal, no? So, the day after our wedding, that's what I did. I woke up early in the morning, sinabayan ko siya, and then he asked me, why are you up so early? Sabi ko, huh? I'm your wife now. I'm supposed to prepare your coffee and your breakfast. No. Somebody else can do it for us. Ano mo na, you go back to sleep. And then sabi ko, hindi ko maintindihan. And I felt so parang rejected, no? Yung pagkatao ko. And then in the evening, while we were having dinner, sabi niya, Charo, I remember this. Before you are a wife and a mother, you are a person.
Wow.
Pursue your dreams.
Can we say that again, Charo? Before you
are a wife and a mother, you are a person. So yung mga kababaihan po dito, hanapin ninyo.
That's right. At ang next logical question, ikaw ba, Catriona, nakahanap ka na ng magsasabi sa iyong, Catriona, before you are a mother and a girlfriend, you are a person and a woman.
The process naman, Tito Boy.
In the process.
But I feel like it is right to demand of how you should be treated, to set those standards in place first.
I like that word demand. Sometimes you have to demand for it.
Because sometimes we feel so hiya eh. So like we're just, hopefully they just accept who we are. But it's right to be upfront and say, this is who I am as a person. It'll save so much, time, so much effort of trying to figure that out rather than just being upfront. This is what I stand for. This is the passion that I want to go after. Are you okay with me dedicating this much time to my passion and my dream?
Somebody once said, you belong to yourself. And you take control of yourself. Okay, I mean, alam namin lahat your journey to the presidency, Charo, pinuhunanan mo yan ng a lot of hard work. I mean, we all know that. Catriona, we saw that journey. But when you got to where you were, being Miss Universe, being president of the largest network of this country, and you have that honor of being the first. I don't know if it sounds well, but to other women, the first woman president of a major network. How was the view from there? How was the view from there?
I feel like if you were to traverse a mountain, you slowly go up and you see what seems like the peak. And some would say the crown was the peak for me, the peak of my mountain. But just as I overcame that ridge, I realized there's yet another mountain. And that's not to discourage. It's really not, because I don't feel like you ever reach the top, because there is always space to learn and to discover and to also fill up your role and then elevate your role from what it has first been perceived as. Because I've encountered a lot of people that say, a Miss Universe, a beauty queen, what really is that? It's just a beautiful woman in a pretty dress on stage. But I always sought to elevate that. And once I was actually given the honor to accomplish getting that crown for the Philippines, I then took it upon myself to then try to elevate what it would mean to be a Miss Universe in any which way that I could. And I feel like that's what you do when you reach a dream. It's a dream, but then a new one comes up and you keep traversing upwards.
Charo?
When you get there, you really don't know much. you know.
What do you mean, Charo? That's interesting.
There's so much more to learn. And one should have the humility to know your areas of strength and your areas of weakness. And you have to sharpen your reading of people so that you get the best team to join you. I mean, one never really knows everything. And you just have to know and have the humility to accept that, hey, I'm not good in this area, so I better get the best finance person. Or I'm not good in IT, I better get the best IT person. It's creating a team. It is about creating a good team who will share the same vision that you have.
Charo, in your book, My Journey, the story of the unexpected leader. I remember you have a quote there that says, every leadership journey begins with fear.
Oh yes. I mean, your self-doubts never really go away. Your insecurities are there. And it's good because makes you human. And it
What does it fuel when you feel human as a leader of a huge organization.
It brings out empathy and compassion. It's seeing things from the perspective of your colleagues, your subordinates, your audience. I mean, leadership can never be about you. It's about other people. You're just there to inspire and to guide them and to motivate them and empower them to become the best persons that they are.
You know what it brought us? Because this is a personal experience. And I would always say, one of the most unforgettable things that Charo would do to us, because we have dressing rooms as the hosts and as performers for ABS-CBN, I will never forget, I remember the big moments, but I will never forget the moments when you would actually come to our dressing rooms and engage us in conversations about our shows, about how we were doing. Hindi kami tinatawag sa principal's office, at least in my experience, but it was just so inspiring for my president to actually come to my dressing room and engage me in a conversation. That's what that humanity did to us who worked for you.
Thank you, Boy,
Thank
for
you.
your kind words.
No, really. Kat, inevitably you have become a leader. I mean, people look at you. In terms of leadership, how do you view yourself?
I honestly feel it's a position that I even have to learn even more.
Okay.
Because even though I've reached this success in being able to bring honor to our country, I feel even more so that I have so much more to learn to really justify why I'm still in this position, because I feel like I'm here not for myself. I feel like I was given this blessing for other people.
Okay, let me cut you there because Charo talked about insecurities,
Yes.
moments when you're not sure about yourself. Catriona Gray, do you have insecurities?
Yes. Yes, I do.
What?
I feel like there's this misperception that once you reach a certain height of popularity, when you get 1 million Instagram followers, when you seem to be this loved and liked and adored, that all your insecurities magically dissolve and fade away. But I'm telling you now, they don't.
Do you wake up saying, I'm not looking good?
Sometimes. Or even I do a job and I'm not... Hoy naman, Tito
No, I just wanted to take a better view. Talaga? You actually wake up and say,
promise.
I am not looking
Promise,
good?
there are days when I just feel down. I just am in a mood. Or there are days when I can't be easily pleased by my performance at a certain job. Or
When that happens, what do you do?
it's self-talk. Or if self-talk is not enough reinforcement, it's talk to the people that I trust that are around me. To say, sometimes I need encouragement, because at a lot of times, especially when you're at this position of popularity, sometimes a lot of people are always saying, Kat, you're so beautiful, or I really look up to you, but you're hardly engaged in conversation that goes deeper to say, how are you? Are you okay? Are you happy? Ganyan. It's like,
I get it.
do you know what I mean? And I just want to put it out there too. Like, all of us have insecurities, and it's okay because it makes us human. It honestly does. And I feel like we should never feel like we're perfect, because I feel like you need to come back and be grounded if ever you do reach that height of, I'm perfect. There's nothing I need to learn. There's nothing that I need to improve on.
That's bad. Okay. Charo, during bad days, what do you do?
I introspect a lot. Yeah.
Do you pray?
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. And I introspect. I go to my inner self and I ask myself, what is it about me that I'm not ready to face? Sometimes we refuse to look at our shadows. We refuse to look at our dark side. But we all have, our shadows and our dark side. And it's a moment of truth, Diba? It's a moment of truth when you look at yourself in the mirror and with all humility and honesty, you ask yourself, what is it that I am dismissive about? That's the only way. It's a painful way to learn, but it's the only way to learn. It's the only way to befriend your authentic self.
I love that
And you're
word.
not looking for a perfect Charo. You're not looking for a perfect Catriona. You're just looking for an authentic person.
Befriend yourself. Lady Gaga in her conversation with Oprah, spoke about radically accepting oneself. You have to radically accept oneself so that you become present in the now and you become conscious of where you're going to move towards. Lovely concept, right? Okay, you're not only two of the most beautiful women in this country, you're also two of the wealthiest women. How do you take care of your money?
Tito Boy, I'm not there yet.
No, but we are before entrepreneurs.
Yes.
You know.
I feel like a lot of the people in the room, including myself, were never brought up with a proper financial education. Because me personally, I really relied on conversations over the table with my parents to learn about money, and it never happened. It was almost a subject that was taboo, or my parents thought it upon themselves that that's not something to be shared with our child, because I'm an only child din po. And so when I left home and I started working as a young professional for the first time at 18 years old, I had to learn the hard way. I had to make mistakes. I had to overspend. I had to learn to budget. I had to learn to be mindful of money and to be really mindful that this little card comes with a lot of responsibility. And it was really through trial and error, but I don't feel that it's necessary to go through trial and error, although it is a great teacher. But there are so many learning resources through books online and also through the people that you work with, your peers, that can give you an adequate financial education, because it is so important.
And advice, yes. Charo.
This is very basic, but a lot of people forget it. And this was the value that my father and my mother passed on to us. Live within your means. That, you start with that. And that's a very basic value. Live within your means. And then when you have more than enough, to enjoy life, enjoy the little, perks that, that you want to experience. By God, you deserve it. However, make sure that you always save for the rainy day. And don't put your eggs in one basket. Go to mentors who can talk to you about financial management. Kasi nga, karamihan sa atin, di ba, yan ang kulang. Yan ang gap, I think, in our society, financial management. So look for mentors who can guide you. And yes, enjoy the little perks that life has to give you, but always put balance, in the way you make your decisions in spending.
This is a personal view. Did you apply this to the organization when you were president?
Oh, yes. Yeah. When times are good, then, there's so much more to share with everyone. But when times are bad, sikip muna tayo ng sinturon, di ba? Yung ganun, you live within your means. Kung ano yung kaya. Hindi
That's
yung nauuna na yung panaginip, nauna na yung gastos.
Yeah, and you take care of your people.
Yeah.
Alam mo, Kat, I just wanted to tell you that about 6 years ago, I was hospitalized, ladies and gentlemen. And Charo, I will never forget this, came to my dressing room and gave me a check. Totoo yun. Do you remember? Thank you, Charo. I just wanted to say, I just remembered it now. I'm reading a book right now. I don't know if you've come across the book. It's a Japanese book called Ikigai. Have you come across the book? Interesting book. I didn't know that in the Japanese language, there is no word for retirement. There is no word for retirement. Do beauty queens retire?
I suppose they do. But at my age, it's definitely not something that I'm looking to do anytime
Of course.
soon.
I shouldn't even be asking you that. But, Charo, you will never retire.
You may retire from a position.
Yes.
Yes, because that's how you empower the next generation of leaders. And that's how you make sure that, succession planning is in place in your organization. However, you never retire as a person. For as long as you're breathing, there is a mountain to climb. There are so many books to read. There are so many master classes to attend to.
So many films to do.
Yeah, and so many stories to share. One never really dies, because if you retire from life, then Di ba? What would life be all about? It's how you have to breathe, continue to breathe. You have to be alive in the moment, and you can only achieve that if your sense of curiosity is kept alive. You would want to continue to learn about new things.
That sense of wonder.
Yung digital, di ba? Parang, yeah, you have to keep yourself abreast with
What's happening and
with
how
what's
people are
happening
talking,
in the
right.
digital world.
No, but you're doing some of your most important films right now.
Yes.
Yes, you're, di ba?
I'm venturing out again there in the field of acting.
As an actor,
Yeah.
where you actually started in the entertainment industry, and we're just so happy that you're doing a lot of films. And Catriona is doing a book for ABS-CBN, and backstage we were talking about the possibility of a singing career and even an acting career. So we're truly, truly excited. Okay, I always do this in my conversations. You're the pearly gates and God is there. You're at the entrance of heaven. And, he says, Charo, Catriona, if I were to give you a chance to introduce yourselves to me, how would you do it? Kat, how would you do it?
Grabe yung weight ng question, Tito Boy.
I remember the Miss Universe who just said, I come as one, I stand as
Here,
104 million
being
Filipinos.
I would introduce myself as Catriona and then say that I've hoped to the best of my ability. I've directed the path of my life to always be mindful of others and to always act in a way of contributing to other people's lives, whether it be through my outreach work, through giving children the access to an education, to giving free cleft care to a child, or whether it be through giving a message that somehow uplifted someone. I hope that I would be recognized for these small things that maybe other people never knew about, but God knows all and He sees all, and that's who we should always direct and lift all of the things that we do for other people, because He knows, and that's all that needs to know.
Thank you. Charo, what would you tell God?
This is Charo. Thank you very much for all the blessings you have showered upon me. I hope that I have been a good servant.
Wonderful. And God will say, I'm sure, hula lang naman ito. Come in, girls. Okay, boy is waiting for you. Now, there's a question from the floor, and I'd like to call on stage. Can I call on stage Ms. Rosalind? We of the W Group and Legacy Awardee of Goa Negosyo. There, Ms. Rosalind.
Yes.
Come, join us here. Good
Good
morning.
afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can I give you my heart?
Lovely. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. My question first to my idol, Ma'am Charo. I'm curious. I'm curious. Who is your idol amongst the women in the world? Only one, and then except your mother.
And why?
I mentioned
And
her.
why? And
Yeah,
why?
I mentioned her name earlier, Oprah. Yeah,
Okay.
she's one of my
And why?
idols. Oh, I love it that she talks about humanity, and she has empathy and compassion towards humanity. It's she resonates with me. She resonates with me a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I love her too. And then next question is to our Miss Universe. My husband, the ambassador of Indonesia, would like to say hello to you.
Hello! Terima kasih.
Yes. Okay, my question to you is, winning the Miss Universe, did it change your life? Okay, I know it changes a lot. You're being the Miss Universe, going around. What in particular that changed your life?
Miss Universe definitely changed my life in that I felt like I have had an even bigger responsibility to really hold that role, because a lot of people think winning a crown is like winning the lottery. It doesn't come with, any responsibility. But it honestly is a job title. And I feel that even though my reign has passed its year, I feel like the job continues. And that's how it's changed my life.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Maraming salamat. Okay, one of my last questions. Charo and Catriona. If your life stories were to be made into an episode of Maalaala Mo Kaya, MMK, Kat, give it a title. Give it a title. The story of Catriona Gray.
The Pursuit of Silver Linings.
Ang masyadong mahaba, Catriona.
Ay, sorry naman.
Maibibenta ba natin yan, Charo? The Pursuit of Silver Lining.
At saka
Pinag-usapan.
kailangan one word lang.
Kailangan-
Tapos Tagalog.
Oo.
Kailangan magaling ka mag-Tagalog.
Oo, kailangan.
One word though.
One word.
Laban.
Laban. That's interesting. Laban. Di ba? Charo, pwede na. no?
Pwede
Pwede
talaga.
na.
Swak.
Hashtag laban.
Oo, hashtag lang.
Charo, ikaw.
Ako?
No, but before that, just for all the women in this audience, Charo, maikli lamang. Because I'd like you to share with us the story of the paper clip and how Maalaala Mo Kaya was born. That story between you and then President of ABS-CBN, Freddy Garcia. Very quickly, just that story.
In one programming meeting, he asked me if he would cancel one of the existing programs, what would I replace it with? So sabi ko, sir, give me a couple of weeks, I'll think about it and I'll make a pitch after 2 weeks. Sabi niya, anong 2 weeks? Sa television, hindi nakakahintay. Di ba? Pag may tinanong ako sa iyo, dapat may sagot ka. And I saw a paper clip on top of the table. Sa nervyos ko, sabi ko, ito, paper clip. Simpleng bagay, pero maaring sa ibang tao, may halaga ito. At maaaring dito sa paperclip na to, may kwentong nakapaloob. So bakit hindi tayo gumawa ng show that will dramatize true-to-life stories of our letter senders? Kasi noon po, sulat pa. Our letter senders. Sabi na, pwede yan. It's patterned after itong inyong Tia Deli. And then, lovingly yours, Helen, di ba? These were my idols also. And so he said, yeah, pwede yan. We'll give it, anong title mo? Sabi ko, Among My Souvenirs. Sabi na, bakit naman English? Kailangan kundiman. And then he was the one who said, bakit hindi maalaala mo kaya? And that was how the show was born, and it's still around. It's been here on the air for 29 years.
So-
Thank you very much for all your support.
If I were to suggest a title for your episode of Maalaala Mo Kaya should be Paperclip.
Oo nga, no? Paperclip. Pero pwede ding Rosario. Yung 4 na misteryo ng Rosario, di ba? We go through our joyful years, our sorrowful years, our glorious years, and then our luminous years.
Wow, Rosario. That would be an interesting episode. Last question, pang beauty queen. I am Catriona Gray. Complete the statement. And
I never thought you were going to ask me this question again, Tito Boy.
I am Catriona Gray, and
I am in pursuit of a dream.
wow. Let's go to Charo for a last question.
I am Charo, and I'm happy.
Oh. What can we say? Maraming salamat. Women of legacy. Thank you very much
Thank you very much.
for your attention. Maraming salamat.